Alright, so what we have here is the supercharger for the Mercedes M113k engine. 5.5 liter engine unit. Commonly found in the SL55, CLS55, S55, E55. From 2004 to 2006-ish, around then. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful motor, all in all. But what I'm going to do here is, the reason why I'm making this video is to indicate and show, this is the factory throttle body right here. If you take a look, it was on here like so, but I'm going to replace it with an upgraded. This is 74 millimeters. This is 82 millimeters in terms of its diameter, to allow air to pass in, so the engine can breathe more. Yeah. So I'm going to replace it with this bigger unit and the accompanying backing here. There's a name for it, I forgot, but if you can kind of see, it's welded thoroughly. This is from DTK Motorsports. Dimitri, awesome guy. I got quite a few parts from him. But yeah, I'm going to be transplanting this onto here and showing you the step-by-step process. There are videos on how to pull this off already, and I'll put that in the comments to kind of guide you and show you, and maybe give you a few pointers on what to watch out for when taking it out. But yeah, all in all, I'm going to get started on this. And also, I might actually also clean out these two EGR valves, clean all the carbon buildup from exhaust in them to keep them running good before I get any error codes down the line. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you step by step. As far as this, that I took off, it was these 4 bolts, like so. And I'll tell you the size. It's actually, I think it's a T45 socket to remove them. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it lifts up and off. If you're lucky, this may not be epoxied, the plug, so you can unplug and reuse it. Mine was epoxied in with some really hard stuff, so it's not coming out unless I completely destroy the whole thing and tear this out. I just bought this morning from Mercedes a new connector, and that part was about, normal price is listed $119. The best price he gave me was $89. It's $95 shipped, 2 days from their warehouse to the dealership. It's not normally stocked. And the part number for that connector here, which also works on this guy, is, I want to give it to you before I forget. It is, come on. The part number is A1131, well, scratch that, it's 1131500028. It's the throttle harness. Yeah, it also may be, it may also start with an A. All those numbers, it may be an A at the beginning or just the straight numbers. If you give it to them at the dealer, they will tell you. The description is an ignition SOP. Yeah, ignition SOP. Yeah, so that's part number 1131500028, and that's from the receipt. Okay. So let's get started on this. All right. Okay, I stand corrected. To take the throttle body off, it's T30 for these guys, to remove the throttle body from the snout here. Now if you look over here, let me zoom in. Now this is the T45 to remove the snout from the actual supercharger housing. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 down here. 1, 2, 3. Can you see that on cam? 3 is in here. And then there's a fourth one going down. Fourth one going down there. 3 is over here. Yeah, there we go. In focus. 4 is back there. And I think there's another 2 on the underside in the back that you would need to remove. I haven't got there yet, but as I go through, I'll explain. But to remove the throttle body off of here, it's 4 T30 star torque, whatever you want to call them, sockets. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I got the 4 Snout bolts out, T45 to take those out, but this Snout is still not breaking free. There's a little portion here that's into the adhering to, I guess, the bottom coolant reservoir underneath the supercharger. So I'm going to try and flip it over and hit 2 of these bolts that I see on the bottom over here, T45s it looks like, take those out, and I'm thinking I can separate the coolant tank, which is right here, from the actual supercharger body, and I'll be able to get the Snout off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, this is my first time trying this, so bear with. Okay, so I flipped it over here, and what you see is the coolant reservoir, I guess they would call it, that's underneath the supercharger. But what I was talking about was I knew there were some bolts. I had a feeling there's a T45 here, another there, 1, 2, a third here, and a fourth there. So I'm thinking once I take these 4 out, I can lift this up and off the supercharger. Alright, and I'll be able to get to the bottom of it. I'm also going to try and show how to change the supercharger oil. I have Mobil 1 jet oil here. Synthetic jet engine oil is what's supposed to be used. And you need a syringe with a little plastic deal there to inject in and out. And somebody said online it's 5 millimeters is what the tube is, or less, that you need to suck out. You can do that on the vehicle, or you can do it off. Since I have it off, I might as well do it. Mercedes says you never need to change it, but people have said online anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 miles you want to change it out. Just be prepared, because it smells really bad from what I hear. So what else? Oh yes, and the jet oil you can find at aircraft part supply facilities or airports, aircraft part supply stores. It was like 27 bucks for that little can there. Yeah, so just to give you some insight. But let me get at these bolts and I'll show you what's coming up next. Alright, okay, so what I'm going to show now is I got these 2 bolts out. They're really small. I don't know if you can see it there. With the T45, these 2 are staying in. What you see here is literally the same thing on the other side with this pipe. Here, I'll show you, just so you can see. I don't know if you can get that there. But those 2 bolts are actually loose. They're loose to the point where they're not holding anything. They're actually out of the actual supercharger. But the reason why I want to show this portion is I laid a towel, folded over, a little hand towel, and tucked it in. And I used a pry bar to kind of come over here. Not at this point, because this is right where the threading, coolant, whatever fitting goes, but kind of right here to kind of try and pry. And if you can kind of hear it separate. This is what's holding it in when you remove all 6 of those T45 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 that I showed at the beginning of the video. Let me bring this down. Hold on 1 second. Let's do this. Alright. Yeah, you can kind of see it better, but this black, and I might have to go get some, I don't know. But if you look closely, there we go. This right here, this black RTV silicone whatever paste, Mercedes makes it. I think it's like 10 bucks a little toothpaste bottle deal. But yeah, that's what's holding this still. So when I use the pry bar here, that is what and I'll simulate it again. That, let me zoom in. That's what was making it stick and adhere to the supercharger. So now my coolant tank here, the coolant tank is now free to be lifted off and taken away from the supercharger. So I'm going to lift this up and off. Okay. And there you have it. If you want to take a peek, I don't know if this is in your viewing angle, but yeah, I think I will need to get some more of this black Mercedes silicone deal here. But you can kind of see in there, it's like a radiator for the supercharger to try and keep it cool. If we look under, this is made by Garrett. Charge air cooler. So yeah, I don't know if you can get that in the shot. Garrett charge air cooler. All right. Oh wow. It says here, I don't know if it's in the light, Nossi Bill, some number in 18th of March 03. So I guess that's the guy that mounted it and put it on there. Keep in mind the AMG motors, from what I understand, are hand built. The name of the guy that worked and built your motor is actually on the underside. There's a plate. His name and signature are there. So yeah, now I have it separated, so this is good. Kind of cool, so I can get this deal off now. And also look at changing the oil, and I get to see inside of it. If you ever wondered what it looks like inside, you know, you can kind of grab a peek there. Let's see if we can get it in the light. And as it spins, it's kind of like two large worm gears. Elongated thread worm gears. But yeah, that's the gist of it, so more to come. Okay, so I have the supercharger here separated from that coolant reservoir tank. So what I'm going to show you guys now is a little bit extra, an extra bolt that I found. So it turns out that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 T45 torque bolts that need to be removed to get that snout off. So I'm going to remove the last one right here and show what happens as I pull it off. And like I said before, make sure you buy some of that black RTV silicone gasket maker. Alright, I might have to get some as well. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and show the removal of that bolt and the separation of the snout. Alright, so on that note, let's see here. Let me put this back on, hold on. There we go, got that guy. Okay, where are we? T45. Here we go. Okay. As you can see, it's separating, the snout is separating from the supercharger and now creating some space. And voila, finished. Alright, so as I remove this, that is what the inside, back end, I think, back end of the supercharger looks like. And this is what the inside of the snout looks like. I don't know if you can see it, but that's that. And a side-by-side comparison. Hold on. So side by side comparison of the two. Yeah, you can't really. Okay, there we go. You kind of see. This was the extra flange that was welded on to allow for the bigger throttle body. So I'm going to go ahead, do the prep work, and get everything going before I install it. Okay, everybody, I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you how to take the black RTV gasket, Permatex gasket silicone that's on the supercharger right here. But first, I want to indicate and show you how I got this guy. This vacuum port was pushed, here we go, was pushed all the way in. This little gap here was not there, and it was sitting flush with the metal. I tried pulling it out, rotated it a little bit. Once I got it to rotate freely, I said, how can I get it out? So what I did was I went ahead, put some rags on the table here, got a what size is this? Hold on. I got a number 10 Allen wrench, or 10 millimeter, I guess, Allen wrench. And I stuck it through, can you see? Can you see? There's a little porthole right here, better yet. It goes all the way through. So on the other, oops, excuse me. On the other end here, which I don't know if you can see, yeah, there you go, that hole right here. I stuck this Allen wrench in there like so. This guy was sitting like this, halfway off the bench or the table. Stuck it in, used a rubber mallet. I don't know, what is this, 5 pound, 2.5 pound rubber mallet, and I hit it here. Make sure to keep this kind of angled away so it doesn't, when it goes down, it doesn't etch into the metal here, or this portion doesn't, this doesn't etch into the metal here when you hit it with a mallet and such. So if you can, keep it angled into the groove gap area here, so when you hit it, it'll slide through like so, hopefully, and not mess up the flush regions. But after about a good 3 or 4 whacks with it hanging halfway off the table, it popped out. And that's how you get this guy in. This is very important because I don't know where it goes to per se, but I know there is a major hard vacuum plastic port that goes in there. So I'm going to insert and push this in to this guy a little bit later. Put it right there. But for first things first, I want to indicate and show you how to get the RTV silicone off of the supercharger. So let's zoom in there a little bit. Use this guy, and with the razor, I'm being careful not to get the black, scrape it off and have it fall in. So I'm kind of going away, starting at the edge and sliding it off away from, and take my finger and kind of brush off away gently. If it does fall in there, take a clean finger or a clean finger, pick it up and brush it out to the side. So if you kind of see here, I got some of that off. So I'll show you a little bit more, and then I'll conserve my battery for things to come in this video, the next step. So I'm just showing you here kind of how I do it. Alright, and I did go to AutoZone and buy this Permatex Gasket Sealer Ultra Black RTV, room temperature. I forgot what the V stands for, but basically at room temperature it can kind of seal and bond and stick really good. High temperature formula, resist temperatures up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 260 degrees Celsius, intermittently, fast cures, and it's sensor safe. Yeah. Oh, oil too as well. Maximum oil resistance. Yeah. So this is it. Part number is from Permatex PX space number 82180. Right there in the bottom corner. Alright, so let's get back to taking this off. I'll show you a little bit more. Okay. that's fine. And when you do put the Permatex on, you do not need a lot. You don't need a lot. Just a little bead around here, because when you tighten it, it'll squish out and seal really good. Less is more. Yeah. Alright, so I'm taking this out. Uh-oh, let's do this. Got you. Got you. Alright. Kind of going away from the port. Try not to block it too much for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Cool. Let's get this guy. Do like so. Okay. Is that in the camera? Yeah. Okay. But that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm gonna turn the camera off to conserve some battery, and I'll finish this up. All right. Just take your time when doing this stuff. There's no need to rush. Oh yes, also as a follow-up too, you also need to remove the RTV silicone from the other portion, which is on the underbelly, the coolant charge air cooler, which coolant runs through to charge the air that the supercharger pulls in and keep it cool. So yeah, you got to remove the RTV from here too as well. Okay. Kind of like I'm doing, but you kind of get the idea. Yeah. So. All right. So I went ahead and pushed this in by hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can something else, maybe with the edge of this mallet. Try and get it to sit flush with the metal. Not too hard. Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, cool. Perfect. Alright. And that's the gist of it. So now this guy is in place and ready for the vacuum line once it's installed. Oh, another thing too, I should have said this at the beginning. I'll put it in the notes, try to, but I taped up the emblem and signature of the guy who assembled and created my motor, AMG motor, by hand. So it doesn't get all scuffed and messed up. I use Gorilla Tape as I lay this flat and such. I don't want to destroy it. Alright, but just to give you some tidbits, that's kind of what's going on. Alright.